Vacuuming a swimming pool is one of the more relaxing responsibilities that you will have as a lifeguard. You will find that if you vacuum a pool every day, spot vacuuming to the center of the pool and along the sides is all that will be necessary. If there was a storm the night before and you are at a pool surrounded by trees, you may need to show up extra early in order to get the pool ready to go for the day. Most pools can be vacuumed using what is commonly referred to as the system. No special mechanical equipment is necessary. You will need a vacuum pole, vacuum head, and a vacuum hose. Most of these items can be found in the supply or pump room. The vacuum pole may be located on the building or along the fence line on pole hooks. Although every pool is different and suction may vary, the general steps outlined in this video will work for most any pool unless you have been instructed differently. It is important to remember that in order to have the ability to vacuum, you must have enough water in the pool. Always turn on the fill line and/or garden hose whenever you vacuum. This will ensure you have enough water in the pool to vacuum every day. The normal water level for most pools is halfway up the tile line or skimmer box. The proper water level on an overflow guttering system would be when water is lapping up onto the skimmer grates. If you have a stainless steel guttering system, the water level needs to be halfway up the weirs. The weirs are located on the stainless steel gutter wall and are rectangular in shape. The first step in setting up to vacuum a pool is to select a skimmer from which to vacuum. Generally, you will select the middle skimmer closest to the pump room. Take off the lid, remove the basket, and place them on the pool deck. Attach the vacuum head to the pole by squeezing the white clip located on the stem of the vacuum head. Push the stem into the end of the pole until the white clip engages in the two holes at the base of the pole. Next, you will attach the vacuum hose to the vacuum head. Please note there are two white cuffs on a vacuum hose. One cuff will oftentimes be bigger than the other. A cuff may also be identified with the words "the end" printed on it, which attaches to the vacuum head. Put this larger cuff tightly onto the vacuum head. If it is loose, you may need to add an adapter to the vacuum head as shown. The vacuum hose will then be attached to the adapter. The final step in vacuum preparation is priming the hose. In order to accomplish this task, you must sit down close to the skimmer in which you will be using and place the assembled vacuum pole and vacuum head straight down the pool wall into the water between your legs. Toss the vacuum hose onto the water's surface. This will prevent scuffs and scrapes to the hose as you begin to prime it. Grab a hold of the vacuum hose at water surface level and start feeding it down through your hands and feet as shown. Do not allow the vacuum head to come off the pool floor. Once water starts cascading out of the vacuum hose, you are ready to connect to the suction hole in the skimmer. Cup your hand over the end of the hose and go through the front of the skimmer box and place directly into the suction hole. If there is enough suction, the hose may be pulled through by that. In order to get the best suction possible, however, it is advisable to plug off the suction holes in the two skimmers on either side of the one you are using. You are now ready to begin vacuuming. When vacuuming, keep the vacuum head on the floor of the pool at all times, making slow back and forth motions. Slow and consistent passes will keep dirt and debris from getting stirred up. It is best to work toward the right and have the vacuum hose behind the vacuum head. If the hose is starting to get tangled up or is in front of the vacuum, untwist it by turning the pole to the left as shown. Work your way around the pool until you have covered the entire pool. When you are finished vacuuming, never pull the vacuum head out without disconnecting the hose from the suction hole first. You will create an air slam to the pump if you do this, and the pump will more than likely lose prime. Pull the pole up the side of the wall and directly onto the pool deck. Never bend the pole up and out of the water. The weight of the water in the vacuum hose can snap or bend the pole in half. Remove the hose from the vacuum head and neatly coil it and store in its proper place. To coil a hose, you can either do it on the ground or drape it over your arm with a pull and twist motion of the hand as demonstrated on the video. Make sure you store the vacuum head and the pole in their proper place. The final step in vacuuming procedures is to remember to turn off the fill line. If you find after priming the hose that you do not have any suction, there are several things to check. Pull the vacuum hose out of the skimmer and place your hand over the hole to feel for suction. If there is suction, you can safely assume you have not primed your hose properly. Prime your hose again to see if this corrects the problem. If the suction is weak, make sure the plugs you have installed in the suction holes on the other skimmers are securely in place. Check the filter pressure. If you are at zero pressure, remove the plugs from the suction holes, disconnect the vacuum hose from the suction hole, and see if the system recovers. If it does, restart the vacuuming process from the beginning. If you still do not have adequate suction, call the pool management company for further guidance. At our larger pool locations, we often use a portable electrical vacuum. The procedures for vacuuming are the same, except instead of attaching the vacuum hose to a skimmer, you will attach it directly onto the stem of the vacuum. Let's review the procedures in setting up to vacuum using a portable vacuum pump. The equipment needed includes the actual vacuum pump, a discharge hose, a vacuum hose, a vacuum head, a vacuum pole, a bucket or garden hose, a chair, and an extension cord long enough to reach a GFI outlet. Place the vacuum pump near the side of the pool. Plug the extension cord into the pump and place the connection between the extension cord and the vacuum pump cord on a chair. This ensures that the connection will not get wet, which could trip the breaker. Roll out or attach the discharge hose to the discharge pipe. Lay out the discharge hose to a drain area on the deck. Attach your vacuum head to the pole and prime the hose just as you would if you were using the system to vacuum. Instead of placing the vacuum hose in a suction port in a skimmer, you will attach it securely onto the cone in front of the vacuum pump. Open the lid of the vacuum pump and pour a bucket of water in the pump pot. You can also use a garden hose for this procedure. Make sure the rubber gasket is properly in place before tightening the lid. Flip the vacuum head over so that it is no longer flush to the pool floor, and turn on the pump by pressing the GFI button on the side of the vacuum pump. If there is no GFI button, turn it on by plugging the vacuum pump into the extension cord. If you have done all the steps properly, you should start seeing the water draw into the pump basket. When the water swirls in a fast motion, the pump is fully primed and you can begin vacuuming. At the end of each vacuum sequence, turn off the pump by either unplugging the electrical cord from the outlet or pressing the GFI button. Never unplug a vacuum pump at the extension cord connection while the extension cord is still plugged into the wall. Clean the pump basket and the hole that leads to the impeller. There are several things you can do to help troubleshoot any issues you may be experiencing with the vacuum pump. They are: make sure the vacuum hose is fully primed. Check the gasket and be sure it is in place and the pump lid is securely tightened. And one of the most common reasons for most vacuum pumps to not work properly is because the wrong end of the vacuum hose is connected to the vacuum pump. Remember, the largest vacuum hose cuff goes underwater. The narrow end cuff connects to the vacuum pump. If you are having issues with the pump not turning on, check to make sure the GFI has not been tripped. If it has, reset it and try to start the pump again. You may also need to check the breaker box and reset a breaker. If you are still having problems with the vacuum pump, do not hesitate to contact management for assistance. Issues with vacuum pumps are extremely easy to troubleshoot over the phone, so don't hesitate to call for assistance.